Thank you very much. I would like to thank the organizers for giving me 30 minutes to speak. I'm coming here with a prepared speech. I have collected all my strength, my intelligence, put everything together in 30 minutes for you. So this is it, to make sure. 5 years ago, I spoke to August gathering like this one about Khmer politics and change. It was gratifying when some let me know that my remarks had made them reconsider their thinking and perspective. There were others, I was told, who thought I was too theoretical to say that big, while they wanted an activism that takes the fight against the UN and against oneself. The comments of those who were dissatisfied with what I have to say caused me to reflect. In some respect, their preference for a prescription for specific direction about how to proceed confirmed my view about what I believe is a deficiency in the acculturation and education of us Cambodians. I began to focus my own research and writing on the topic, how we think determines our future. This year, I'm happy to be here to speak on building a stronger Khmer community and lasting independence and peace in Cambodia. I see many Khmer sons and daughters with good experiences, expertise, and knowledge in the 5 key areas selected by conference organizers. Conferees will take home a lot of information, but such information is only the foundation for knowledge. Such information is not knowledge. Today, Google put information at our fingertips. Most of us probably feel assaulted by the volumes of data that pelt us every day. What separates us is our individual capacity to distill all that information into something on which we can act. That something is knowledge, and it is developed from information that is filtered through our own experiences and beliefs, and is directly affected by how we have learned to think. As a political scientist, I have taught to think through a method that leads me to describe what is, to analyze causes and effects in order to forecast what is likely to happen in the future. Description, analysis, forecast. 3 things you need to remember. Knowledge provokes us to be curious, and more curious, not to be satisfied with what is, to never stop questioning until we reach a panorama of answers from which we can choose. Knowledge promotes intellectual growth and encourages our capacity for change. Today's question is how to build, quote, lasting independence and peace in Cambodia, unquote. My own framework for attaining that goal is action-oriented and begins with an understanding of power and how to develop power. Power is our ability and capacity to produce impact, psychologically or physically, on the behavior of others in conformity with our goals. As a nation, our power is strengthened through 4 elements: our national core, our national infrastructure, our national economy, and our national military. For our purposes today, I suggest we focus on the number one determinant of power, national core. What is national core? It is the essence and the soul of the nation state. It includes the nation's people, there. Their education, their health, their morale, their political readiness, not in terms of what type of government, but in terms of competence and leadership skills. Their collective perception. How do others perceive us? How do they perceive our ability and capacity? How do they perceive our will to act? They perceive who we are. That is an element of national core. The four determinants of power are interrelated. A strengthened national core helps achieve the other three. But today, where we are, the national core is something we can address. A country's people form the national core. I believe that the people should be inspired, energized, and motivated to participate in their society and politics. That they should be moved through effective, truthful communication. That hundreds and thousands of Khmer should be encouraged to help build a generation of leaders with the capacity to plan and to organize. The one element essential to her success is trust. All good relationships are built on trust, which is a belief in reliability, truthfulness, ability, treatment. I believe that if we are well educated, we are able to think ideas through. Ideas have the power to energize and motivate us. Emotion can distort our thinking and may cause us to react alone or in group in ways we otherwise would not. In fact, two individuals who have greatly influenced Asian thinking agree that the power to affect change is within each of us as individuals. Lord Buddha teaches us that nothing is permanent. Asia's great statesman Mahatma Gandhi told us, quote, "You must be the change you want to see in the world," unquote. Thus, Buddha teaches that life is change. Gandhi tells us that you are the agent of change. American President John F. Kennedy reminded us, and I quote, "A man may die, nations may rise and fall, but an idea lives on." Doesn't die. For Lord Buddha, an idea is nothing until it is put into action. Buddha teaches you to think, to apply your thought, and finally to make your world. To make it easy to remember, here are three words. Think, act, and become. You are the agent of change. Now I choose to believe that each of us in this room has developed the capacity to think, to be moved by ideas. Let me suggest a useful, simple framework for action that will have a positive impact on our national core. First, study the world in which you live, all around you. Decide on principles and values to guide us as we adopt and define our goals. Our goal is long-term, lasting independence and peace. It may take decades to attain. In order to advance toward our goal, there will be short-term objectives with fulfilled. For example, the attainment of goals of long-lasting independence may require negotiation, may require entering pact, treaties, alliance, etc. New objectives will develop as we work to address others. Outline our objectives in pursuit of our goal. Second, we need to find the means to carry out objectives to reach our goal. 4 important means include manpower, money, material, and management. Where and how do we secure those means? We need to apply and relate those means to strengthen and build appropriate determinants of power, of which I spoke earlier. Outline the sources of means we can seek out and develop relationships with like-minded colleagues who can network to expand the resource pool. Third, we need to decide if the cost required to attain our goals and objectives is commensurate with the result. In market speak, we are asking what is our potential return on this investment of time and resources. Conventionally, we reach our goal through communication, diplomacy, economic, and military action. But we can use our imagination and creativity to employ determinants of power to reach a goal. We need to be smart. What we say and do should have as priorities the building of our strength. Number 1, national core. Through winning friends and disarming of enemies in the course of action to attain our goal. Cursing the UN and denigrating Hun Sen and the CPP day after day may make some of us feel better, but I see actors engaging in such activities as being weak and having no strong cause. And as a failure of politics since after demonization, nothing positive has occurred. You curse, you denigrate. Life goes on. Remember the political adage, quote, in politics, there are no permanent friends, there are no permanent enemies, there are only permanent interests. What we should want is to gain, to maintain, and to defend. What does it mean to be smart? For our purposes here, I am advocating the importance of critical thinking. To think is not the same as to offer an opinion. Anyone can offer an opinion. Anyone. From the street, in the classroom, at the White House. Whether informed by knowledge or not, an opinion can be given. An opinion can be a fleeting thought. You hold an opinion like this today. Tomorrow, you hear somebody else, you have a different opinion. To think is not the same as to give an opinion. To think is not to daydream. To think is to observe, to imagine, to inquire, soar, to compare, critique, to calculate, to interpret, to assess, to analyze. Anyone can voice an opinion, but not everyone thinks well. As you work to advance your goal, align yourself with others who think critically, not those who are driven only by their emotions. And consider the power of thought. How we think determines the kind of future we will have. A positive attitude combined with imaginative and innovative thought can help us build a quality life. No problem, big or small, including problems in dealing with the youth and with Hun Sen's autocracy, can withstand continual attack by our positive attitude, by our imagination and our creativity. We can deal with that successfully. We need to let go of our traditional, self-piloted, reproductive thoughts and habits. You will recall Albert Einstein's definition of insanity, what we might call good. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. The act of thinking well, or critical thinking, asks us to be quiet, to reflect, to determine what relevant and necessary questions need to be asked and answered in order to address the goal we pursue. A thinker must be inquisitive. The act of critical thinking is itself a component of national core. The foundation of critical thinking in California asserts that, I quote, to achieve knowledge in any domain, it is essential to think critically. It defines thinking as critical thinking as a core social value and a requirement for economic and social survival. Unless change occurs, our lives are likely to continue as they always have. Reinforcing French critic Alphonse Karl's famous statement, plus ça change, plus c'est la même chose. Or, the more things change, the more they are the same. Many talk of change, but as Americans say, many talk the talk, but don't walk the walk. You cannot call for unity and send away people with different opinions. President John F. Kennedy once said, I quote, "The unity of freedom has never relied on uniformity of opinion," unquote. And our Khmer elders have taught us through a saying that anything and anyone has a place in this world. Viết vô một vừa con, trong vô một vừa cam, xăm rồi nhằm vô một vừa ọc đời. Curved wood made real, straight wood made spoke, crooked and twisted wood made good firewood. Yeah. Our Khmer elders taught us the importance of inclusion. Inclusion. But we must work together to make the most of our talent. It would be very critical of me, critical and hypothetical of me, if I do not express my disappointment that the invitation to my Majastra to participate in this conference was rescinded by conference organizers. If 100% agreement is required of all who join forces to fight for Cambodia's independence and non-negotiable territorial integrity, and for Khmer citizens' right, freedom, and justice, I am afraid to say the struggle already is lost. Exclusion weakens us. Inclusion gives us strength. I disapprove of the decision to exclude, but have chosen to see this as a teaching moment, because accepting exclusion is not smart. It is simply dumb. Time has long been pressing for Khmer to revive and discard some of their mindset. Denial and blame are universal traits. Bun Chan Mol Charat Khmer, the book, tells us we Khmer are very much prone to deny our own responsibilities and blame others for all unpleasantness, forgetting that as our index fingers point at others, 3 other fingers point back at ourselves. As Lord Buddha says, and I quote, "Pay no attention to the faults of others. Things done or left undone by others. Consider only what by oneself, us, me, I, is done or left undone." Have I done it? Why not? The Khmer dependency syndrome includes a propensity to run to others for solutions to problems. Historically, this has been costly. There was a video up there. Run to others for solutions. Year after year, I'm sorry to say this, since the signing of the 1991 Paris Peace Accord by Khmer warring factions, 4 factions, and by nearly 24 self-interested foreign governments, Khmer still appeal to foreign signatories to help implement the accord. Hell! I have yet to see one foreign government declare its intention and willingness to implement the accord. Lord Buddha has taught us, work out your own salvation. Do not depend on others. No one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path. And today, 2017, how many Khmer still talk of waiting for Sraksaw Totsran to come and rescue us from difficulties and suffering? And how many still pray for the arrival of Rithipol? 6 years ago, I wrote an article titled, "The people must no longer wait for Rithipol to come to their rescue." I cited in that article the writing of a former Khmer Buddhist monk named Moni Chanda, whom I met at the Khmer-Thai border in 1981-1982. Moni Chanda, who later received a master's degree from Harvard University, explained, he's an expert, he explained, Rithipol is just a title, quote and unquote, for one who upholds Buddha's 10 virtues of charity, morality, self-sacrifice, honesty, kindness, self-control, non-anger, non-violence, tolerance, conformity to the law. Moni Chanda pleaded, not just the king or ruler, but any person, and I quote him, any person can and should be Rithipol in contemporary Cambodia. Although today many Khmer seems alienated from Buddha's teaching, those teachings and Khmer wisdom are relevant and comprise a force that can propel us Khmer forward. A former commander of the Khmer People's National Liberation Armed Forces during my time in the nationalist resistance. His name was Khmer. Okay. I have 5 minutes. Myanmar spoke a lot on internet, on the web. I don't know why I need the microphone for. Recently, he sent out an appeal to Khmer. Please stay away from what he called the 15 don't do. And 5 minutes, I can't tell you what the 15 are. Lord Buddha and his younger counterpart, Confucius, call it humility. Humility is the solid foundation of all virtue. A low view of one's own importance. Lord Buddha and Confucius advocate being modest, neither prideful or vain. These qualities oppose the I, me, at my own orientation that is a source of friction, disharmony, and discontent, whether in family, whether in group like this, whether at the workplace, whether in the community, or in the wider world. I will try to make it in 3 minutes. Critical thinking along with Buddha's teaching should allay my fear that Cambodia may disappear. My are in control, I'm so sorry, my are in control of their destiny. If not, if only they will believe it to be so. You have to believe this is positive thinking. You have to believe it is so that Khmer nation will not disappear. And then you have to believe that and step up to the charge. Can't just talk. What did the Americans say? You talk the talk. You don't walk the walk. Do it. I have suggested reorienting my century-old belief and culture in obedience, service, defense. Let me say it in line. Korop, Bomra, Gaffar, Smartrang, loyalty to whom? To individual leaders. Centuries of culture like this. Allegiance should be to high ideas, to high principles, not to individuals. None of us has the luxury to sit back and let others do the hard work of rebuilding a nation. Now let me go to something lighter. This is too heavy. On a lighter note, many of us in this room, you have children who graduated from high school. There's a book. It's called All the Places You Will Go by Dr. Seuss. His advice to graduates is relevant to us here. I quote, "You have brains in your head," he wrote, advising graduates from high school. "You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose." And he reminds graduates, quote, that reminds me of what Lord Buddha said. You are on your own, and you know what you know. With your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you are too smart to go down any not so good street. So, be sure when you step with care, with great tact, and remember that life is a great balancing act. include, I wish for the very well, and I wish truly from the bottom of my heart this summit good success. Some more good.